2007 was a year of great prosperity in the film industry. Many classic films were made during this time, and among them was Paul Thomas Anderson's There Will Be Blood. Since its release, the film has garnered great critical acclaim for its depiction of the destructive power of greed. The film follows Daniel Plainview, a capitalist oil man whose only concern in life is making as much money as possible. Through the film's use of sound design, staging and blocking, cinematography, editing, and mise-en-scène, it communicates in unnerving detail how destructive living a life fixated on nothing but money really is. The first thing that strikes you upon watching this film is the soundtrack. Compared to most popular films, There Will Be Blood doesn't have very much music, but the music it does have does an incredible job setting the unnerving and at times sad tone of the film. The soundtrack also only incorporates the use of classical instruments, which helps establish the film as a period piece set in the early 1900s. When the music cuts out, most of the sound you hear is environmental. Footsteps from characters walking in the desert, industrial sounds from trains and oil drills, wind rustling trees. The speech patterns of the characters in the movie allow for these environmental sounds to stand out, which to me lends a sense of loneliness to the film. Combining the unnerving effect of the music and the loneliness of the sound design, it solidifies the negative implications that come with the theme of greed being a destructive force to humanity. Greed distances us and breeds fear in our minds. The theme of There Will Be Blood is also communicated through the staging and blocking of Daniel Plainview and Eli Sunday. The main conflict in the film is that Daniel and Eli are both focused on trying to get lots of money and control over the land that has the oil deposits. Every scene featuring these two characters is staged and blocked in a way that reveals this greed-fueled conflict. In this scene at a dinner table, Daniel and Eli are shot using dirty singles. Each character is trying to occupy the space of the other. During this scene, Eli is expecting Daniel to allow him to give a blessing for the oil well. This would give Eli more control as the town's religious leader. Both characters are shot from a low angle, silently showing that they are both in positions of power during this scene. However, when Daniel refuses to allow Eli to bless the oil well, Daniel climbs the stairs, and we get this shot looking down at Eli. Daniel wins, and Eli is given a newfound sense of vengeance. This power struggle, shown through the blocking of the two characters, escalates throughout the film until the final scene where Daniel kills Eli, during which the camera is, of course, on the ground looking up at Daniel. Closely related to the staging and blocking in the film is the cinematography and editing, which both amplifies the tone and supports the theme of the film. For instance, this shot in the beginning of the film follows a rope down into an oil well. This camera movement and graphic match cut creates a sense of dread in the audience as we descend down into the darkness of the well. The mise-en-scène of this scene also contributes to this dark descent. As you follow the rope downward, the walls are more and more covered in oil, and the two characters either side of the bucket of mud they are filling are working exhaustively to make this pit even deeper. Another scene that contributes to the film's theme comes when Daniel reunites with his son, named HW. Instead of the camera getting close-ups of Daniel reuniting with HW, the whole scene is a wide shot. The mise-en-scène here shows the oil pipeline and Daniel's workers more prominently than Daniel or HW. This shows that even though this moment should be emotionally impactful for Daniel, his focus is still on the oil pipeline. And when the camera pans away from the pipeline to focus on Daniel and HW alone, he starts trying to beat Daniel up instead of hugging him. Because of Daniel's fixation on oil and money, his relationship with HW has become completely estranged. It's no wonder why There Will Be Blood is considered a modern classic. The attention to detail in all aspects of its creation has resulted in a deeply impactful film about greed, power, and destruction that will stand the test of time not just for its filmmaking, but for its themes as well.